Hey, it's Gary, and on this week's Unplugged, I want to get into a little bit of an update on my first week of mostly carnivore eating. Talk a bit about the topic of running influencers or runfluencers. A little bit more about what it takes to actually make a start in running, and more importantly, perhaps what it doesn't take. But before we get into all of that, I also wanted to just talk a little bit more about Runner's Gateway, why it exists, and why it was created really, and what I'm hoping to achieve with it all. So, as you may know, Runner's Gateway kind of started as there was a case study in some work that I was doing to try and put some videos together to show people how easy it was to create a website, to build something online around something you're passionate in. And it became apparent along the way that actually the reason that this became my sort of case study is actually the thing that I am most passionate about, and that's despite the fact that I haven't been a runner for a couple of years now, or however long it is. I've got this. These various struggles to get back into it, but it's very much something that changed my life just over a decade ago, and it still burns inside this desire to sort of share that with people and to try and encourage other people who are perhaps in the same situation that I was, and sort of kind of back into that situation now in terms of health and weight and that sort of thing. But also, to not just be something where it's just me talking about how good running is, but to sort of build a bit of a community, hopefully, that, I know that, there are different things around online. There are groups that are focused on mums. There are groups that are focused on dads. There are groups, there are running clubs that, they may be beginner friendly, but more often than not, because there are good faster runners, the members of the club. They have to be catered for, and so a lot of coaching that's available quite often just ends up being biased a little bit towards that end of the spectrum. I know that certainly like my tri club is very beginner friendly, but one or two people who have been through the beginner's course have, felt a little bit abandoned. I guess not abandoned, but have felt a little bit uncatered for when it gets into stepping up from that beginner. So I'm not planning on offering coaching at this stage. At least it's not. I don't really want to be a qualified running coach. I do hope that one day we can bring some coaches into the community, particularly people that I know, and particularly people that, that are beginner friendly in terms of, they understand the needs of beginners, and they're not trying to push them through sort of advanced sort of running training before it's appropriate for them. Coaches that offer online, so that we don't have to, dig dig into our busy schedules and try and find time to go and do proper training. And then, around the edges of it all, I've been tinkering with, sort of print on demand mugs and t-shirts and stuff like that. Well, those kind of things probably just help to fund some of the actual technical aspects, the hosting and that kind of thing. Hopefully at some stage it will also help start to forge a bit of a sort of group or the community sort of identity, so that people will enjoy their post-run coffee in a Runner's Gateway mug, and sort of get some sort of sense of belonging, I guess, and sort of like support, and indirectly draw a bit of motivation from that. I know that, like, for me, I mean, it's been, in many ways, it's also sort of helping me to stay on track with my commitment to getting back into running. And it sounds a little bit silly, but every time I have a coffee from the sort of like the prototype mug in the morning. Just seeing that logo, seeing the name Runners Gateway just kind of keeps me on track. It's a very interesting psychology. So anyway, that's kind of, I guess a bit of a very high level and probably disjointed kind of summary of where we're sort of wanting to go, what Runners Gateway is seeking to do. But I'm glad that so many of you are part of it, and hopefully between us we can grow it into something very good and very impactful for a lot of people. So now we'll take a look at like the past week. I've been mostly on this sort of carnivore, sort of meat based diet as an effort to go very low carb and to get my sort of weight heading in the right direction, which in turn will help feed into my ability to get my fitness and get back into becoming an actual runner. It's actually gone very well. It's I've tried low carb before, and it was very successful. And what happened with that was I very quickly found a lot of my sort of gut issues in sort of just having unsettled stomach and a bit of bloating and that kind of thing, that actually settled down very quickly, taking up the sort of the keto type eating. What I found this time is it's been a little bit different. I've actually had a few minor gut related issues. Because my body has been getting used to basically eating no carbs at all. It's been getting used to processing the meat. But at the same time, I have had little to no hunger between meals. And quite often when it comes to eating later in the day, I'm nowhere near as hungry, and I've been eating a relatively small amount of food. And sometimes at lunchtime, I've just ended up going for a walk. And not really eating anything at all. I've been thirstier, so I've been drinking more water, so I've actually been very hydrated. And I stepped on the scales this morning, and 1.25 kilograms has disappeared. And not only that, but 0.8 kilograms of that is fat. So, so I'm not just losing body weight in water. I'm not just losing muscle. I'm actually looking at the figures. It looks like it's mostly water and fat that's disappeared. And 1.25 kilograms is pretty sustainable as a weekly loss. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm feeling better. My stomach is feeling less bloated. I'm feeling like it's having an impact. And so I will continue with it and see where we go next week. But not really missing cakes and biscuits and so on at the moment, but we'll hopefully that will continue. So next we were sort of talking about this idea of running influencers. Now, I guess it sort of crosses over running influencers, but also people on social media who clearly have a bit of experience of running and put out opinions. Particularly ones that ones that actually form part of the reason why I'm motivated to do Runners Gateway. When you get opinions being expressed, like if you don't run the whole way, it feeds into the myths. Actually, it feeds into the myths that a lot of people believe that stops them from becoming a runner. If you don't run the whole way of a distance, if you don't hit a certain pace, you're just a jogger, or you're not a runner, or you're just a walker. And that's absolute bullshit as far as I'm concerned. If you run, or in any way, shape or form, if it's only a run walk, then you are a runner and you're part of the running community. And I'm very happy to say that the vast majority of people that I've ever met through the running community are very understanding of that, very welcoming, and it is the minority that are expressing these views, but unfortunately it's a vocal minority. But at the same time, alongside them, you've also got I don't know. There's a lot of people who spend most of their time putting forward opinions um, on running, and often making controversial sort of running statements to actually just get more views and traffic on their accounts. And it actually turns out that the only reason for doing that is because they're trying to sell some shakes or some supplements, or they're ambassadors for a particular clothing brand. Now, I'm going to quickly jump in and say I have absolutely zero problem with anybody who is trying to operate some kind of online business or online money-making venture. My background is very much related to software development, web development, and online business. But I think it's a wonderful thing to try and find something that you can make money with, and that you can potentially put money towards to help fund your race entries or your training, or travel abroad to take part in bucket list events. So if you can tie that in with your running, that's all wonderful. I think the main issue I have is the way that sometimes people go about things. They get approached by, they might have an active social account. They've got quite a few followers, and they might get approached or have an opportunity to apply for an ambassadorship program for a clothing brand, or some of these supplements and creams and so on and so forth. But then they just go about trying to promote that, and unfortunately they may not have sort of investigated and researched sort of online business and the ways of doing things quite enough, and so they just start spamming links, and so people end up it ends up being sort of counter effective. It ends up counteracting what they're trying to achieve. They're trying to bring something that they believe in to other runners, trying to share that, and generate some commissions from that, which then goes towards paying their race entries or whatever. But they end up getting zero sales because they just come across as an annoying spammer. And it's probably not even their fault. They just don't realise there are ways of going about that. So I guess I just wanted to express some frustration with seeing that, because and just to assure people who are out there who are thinking about setting down that pathway, and trust me, if you get into running, and you sort of make changes to your life, and you feel inspired and confident, and you start getting passionate about it, it has impacts and knock-on effects on other areas of your life, and you'll start going, if I can do that, then maybe I can do this, and then you start thinking outside of your current situation, and you start thinking you might have some sort of like suppressed dreams, repressed dreams of doing something, some commercial activity for yourself and so on. I just want to say that if you do find yourself going down that pathway, just take time to do some research and to look into some of the ways of actually operating and setting up an online business in a way that you won't annoy other people. And I am seeing that more and more on social media with runners expressing sort of frustration with running influencers. So so I guess that's enough on that subject. But so then getting into the last piece for today, I think this idea of how do you start getting back into running or getting into running, and also how don't you? I think it's important to actually realise that you don't have to sign up for like a daunting running program. You don't even have to set yourself a goal of running a marathon or doing a 5K or being able to run a certain distance in a certain time. So don't put that pressure on yourself. I mean, if you're actually thinking about taking up running, you've got this inner desire, that I mean, like for me, just over a decade ago, when this running, this niggling thought to actually take up running first emerged, it took me by surprise. But and yeah, I did put it out there as a stupid goal to run a marathon. But I took 18 months to get there, and it wasn't that I started doing a marathon training program on day one. So what I'd encourage you to do is just hang out in the community, sort of poke around some of the videos that are on the Runners Gateway channel. Download the free Getting Started guide that was put online. It's there. Just put your name and your email in, and you'll be sent a copy. It's it just covers some of the not so much how-tos, but more some of the questions around running. Some of the myths around running, and just some of the basic sort of guidance that you might need when you're setting off. And really, just take it. As corny as it sounds, because of this is running or walking, but take it step by step, and from day one, try and find a way of fitting it into your lifestyle. You've probably noticed actually that this isn't the usual format of video. I'm sat in my car. I'm not sat at home. I'm recording this on my phone, not on the laptop, because I've just done 3 laps of a sporting complex where my son is actually doing pre-season training for his baseball team. So I've done about 3.5 Ks. Did 3 laps of this place, and I'm sat here while he's finishing his training session, and I've sort of squeezed in my running, and I've now squeezed in my YouTube recording for the unplugged, the weekly unplugged. But that's just that's the kind of thing that you do to fit things into your routine, and not necessarily have to force your routines to change around your fitness and taking up running. So go for a 10-minute walk in the morning if that's all you've got, 10 minutes. Go for a short stroll at lunchtime if you get an opportunity at work. Increase your step count by just getting up and, from whatever you're doing all day long, every now and again, just going for a bit of a walk around the office or the shop or, wherever you're working. And just consciously try to be a little bit more active. And what you'll find is that if you do that consistently, then over time, all those little steps really do add up. And you sort of take a look back after, say a few months in, and you find that it's built up to something a lot more significant than you might realise, because it's happening bit by bit. But you'll suddenly you'll realise that you're regularly going for walks, or maybe walk runs, or maybe you've even just naturally progressed into doing running, and you'll be setting yourself up for more and more success. And before you know it, you'll actually be the runner that you want to be, and you'll be achieving and doing the things that you want. So on that note, look, just keep at it. Be consistent. Be persistent. We always say that finishing a run, a running event, is a case of getting to the start line, and then once you're at the start line, putting one foot in front of the other and not quitting until you get to the finish line. And if you do persist and you don't quit, then you will get there. So as I say, on that note, I'll say goodbye for now. I've taken up a little bit more of your time than usual, and happy running. See ya.